Welcome. Today, we're unpacking a really fascinating detective story, and it actually centers around something that's probably sitting on your kitchen counter right now, the seemingly mundane apple. But as we're going to see in this analysis, this humble little piece of fruit is, well, it's anything but ordinary. It actually holds ancient secrets that bridge this incredible gap between natural biology and divine truth. Okay, let's dive into this. Have you ever actually stopped to critically examine an apple? Scientifically, it's known as Malus domestica, and this everyday snack is literally a physical anomaly. According to the source material we're breaking down today, the apple tree possesses a distinct and, honestly, highly unusual biological life cycle. So what profound secrets are hidden within that biology? Well, before we can reveal its ancient connections, we kind of need to understand that back in antiquity, the physical environment and the literary world were deeply intertwined. Which brings us to Section 1, a botanical rarity. You see, Malus domestica isn't just a snack to keep the doctor away. Historically, this specific botanical entity uniquely recurs across global texts, and more importantly, it's frequently treated as an anchor for profound philosophical and existential themes. Just think about the sheer weight of that for a second. The apple tree actually serves as a historical anchor for human thought. Ancient writers didn't just randomly pull plants out of thin air for their poetry. If a plant behaved strangely, it was elevated. So the apple's frequent repetition is a pretty clear sign that something much deeper is going on beneath the surface. Now, what's really interesting is how this botanical rarity anchors our second section, the cultural imagination. This builds such a fascinating framework. On one side, we have empirical science, the biological life cycle, the physical attributes, basically the hard facts of the tree itself. And then, on the other side, we have textual exegesis, the philosophical themes and the pursuit of divine truth. At first glance, these just look like completely opposite worlds, right? But the study we're analyzing is all about bridging that gap. We're taking the empirical reality of the tree and placing it side by side with its historical and textual echoes, just to see exactly how they interact. To really understand this, we enter Section 3, where science meets ancient exegesis. So textual exegesis is basically an analytical approach used to critically interpret texts to really hunt down their ultimate intended meaning. It's all about carefully reading between the lines. But to understand this specific historical mystery, exegesis alone just isn't going to cut it. It absolutely must be bridged with empirical science. We literally have to thoroughly understand the tree's biology to properly interpret the ancient poetry written about it. Combining these two disciplines, that is exactly how we crack the code. And cracking that code leads us right into Section 4, the Christological architecture. So the crucial point here is Christological architecture. This is the specific spiritual and structural framework found in the New Testament. Think of it kind of like a blueprint for divine truth. And here is where our investigation takes a truly fascinating turn. The research we're looking at connects the natural biology of the apple tree directly to this exact New Testament architecture, which naturally leads us to some pretty massive questions. Were the unusual biological life cycle and the completely unpredictable genetic behavior of the apple tree intentionally utilized to communicate a hidden metaphysical reality? Just let the incredible weight of that question sink in for a moment. The source material isn't just suggesting a mere coincidence here. It's asking if ancient writers deliberately observed these botanical anomalies and intentionally used them as a vessel to articulate the very nature of human consciousness and divine truth. It's mind-blowing. And this brilliantly illustrates the second part of our mystery. Does the specific placement of the apple tree within the poetic framework of the Song of Solomon provide an unrecognized structural link to the spiritual and Christological architecture found centuries later in the New Testament? We are literally looking at century-spanning detective work here. The study suggests that a tree planted in an ancient poem might actually be the structural key to understanding later theology. By examining the empirical reality of the tree right alongside its historical echoes, the study reveals, quote, a structural mechanism through which a physical orchard plant becomes a vessel for the articulation of human consciousness and divine truth. The physical literally becomes the metaphysical. The apple is transformed from this simple, everyday piece of fruit into a profound lens for understanding our own existence. Which leaves us with one final, incredibly provocative question. If ancient thinkers could look at the strange biology of an apple tree and see a structural blueprint for divine truth and human consciousness, what other hidden metaphysical realities might be growing in your everyday world? What else is sitting in your kitchen or growing right now in your backyard, just waiting to be critically examined? Keep looking closely, keep bridging that gap between science and ancient texts, and we'll see you next time as we continue unpacking these incredible mysteries.